Connor here, coming to you from Geneva Park in Rama, Ontario. Today, we're going to be talking about some group problem solving. You will need some pens, paper, and a group to work with. Before we move on, I would just like to share with everyone our land acknowledgement here at Geneva Park. We acknowledge we are in the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe people, the Chippewas of Rama First Nations, and thank them for allowing us to work, live, and play in this place. So, we're talking about group problem solving today. We're going to talk about some strategies, and we're going to talk a little bit about in what stage of Tuckman's 5 stages that we talked about last week do groups do their best problem solving. If we think about group problem solving, and we look back at the Avengers like we did last week, we can see that the Avengers have many problems to deal with throughout their whole series arc. In my opinion, they do their best problem solving when it comes to the movie Endgame. And as we talked about last week, in Endgame, the Avengers are in the performing phase. Now this, like many groups, is where a group does its best problem solving, in the performing phase. They've already meshed together, they work well together, they are understanding the intricacies of working with each individual in that group. And therefore, they're able to come to a solid consensus around problem solving a lot easier. There are many strategies a group can use to help them work through a problem. One example of these could be a mind map. You could also use a Venn diagram, a T-chart, a stream of consciousness writing, and so many others. Today, I'm going to use one specific example of a mind map. Today, we're going to be looking at some crazy ideas, and we're going to imagineer a way to make these ideas work. So for our example of our mind map, the challenge we're presented with is running a marathon with shoes made of bricks. Now, as you can imagine, this is a pretty tall task to ask. Running 42.2 kilometers with big, heavy bricks on your feet. So when I was presented this challenge with my group, we started to make a mind map of all our ideas in ways that we could solve this problem. We came up with things like training barefoot to make our feet tougher so that they could withstand running in the bricks for that long. We came up with training in heavier shoes than what the brick shoes would be to make our muscles stronger so that when we were faced with the task of running the marathon, we were able to do it. We thought about crushing up the bricks and using a mold to form that brick dust into shoes. We would mix it with white glue to allow for a little bit of flex because it would be really hard to run in a solid surface. So using this mind map allowed our group to bring together all our ideas and look at the ways in which they connected. As you can see here, we started with the idea of crushing up the bricks and led ourselves to the idea of designing shoes in a few pieces to allow for foot flex. And then finally we came up with the idea of using the white glue to allow the flex, which connects to our idea of here, making them in a few pieces to allow for flex. A mind map is a great way of seeing those connections and seeing the way that different ideas from different members of the group can work together. Today, I'm going to challenge you to imagineer your own solution to an even crazier problem. Your group's challenge is to imagineer a solution that allows you to dog sled with hamsters. We'll pause the video here and give you some time to think of some solutions of how you can do this. Welcome back. Were you able to come up with a solution for your hamster dog sledding? What strategy worked best for your group? How did your group receive one another's opinions? What stage of development do you think your group might be in? Are they in the forming phase? Maybe it's a group that you just put together. Or maybe your group's in the performing phase because you've been together for years and years. How could your group improve for next time? Do you think listening to one another better might help? Maybe you could choose a different strategy to record your ideas, to make it more logical and make it better for everyone to build off of. When I did this with my group, we came up with the idea of setting up a 1,000-to-1 pulley system. What that means is that every amount of force pulled by the hamsters would be multiplied by 1,000 on the sled. So if a hamster can pull a force of 1 pound, then that means it's pulling 1,000 pounds onto the sled. Now, we realize this would require a lot of rope because every time you up the mechanical advantage that a pulley adds, requires more and more rope. So we know we couldn't go a far distance, but that's not to say we couldn't pull the sled across a room or maybe a couple meters. I want you to take the answers to our debrief questions and think about the ways in which your group could have improved upon its problem-solving strategies. I want you to take those ways in which you could have improved and think about them when you're doing problem-solving in other areas of your life, whether that's individual or group problem-solving. If we do this every time we go through a group problem, then we can only improve on our problem-solving strategies and become problem-solving masters. If you would like to earn a virtual YCamp certification, go to ymcahome.ca/YCamp and tell us about how you did. If you're enjoying the YCamp videos, be sure to subscribe and consider donating to support your local YCamp. See you next week.